We've just sort of talked about the end of the saga, and I noticed that when you released the E3 trailer, that this is the end. I just want to ask whether, when you guys were doing the original Lords of Shadow, you had that intention, you had that in mind. This is success. We get the sequel greenlit. We know that what the story's going to be.
We did. In fact, we did know the end, and that's why we included the epilogue. At the time, we weren't sure if we were going to get the chance to do another one. We weren't. We were unaware how successful the game was going to be. So we put the epilogue in there just to say this is where we were going to take the series, this is what we would do if we were going to get the chance to do another one. And luckily the game obviously did very well, so we have a chance. So we've got 2 games to do. So we had the story of Dracula mapped out, very loosely, right from the very beginning. We knew we had a beginning and we had an end. We didn't perhaps have some of the things that were in the middle, but we had, a beginning and end. And we're very pleased that the success of the game has allowed us to fulfil that and finish the story for the fans.
It was obviously a very rigorous reinterpretation of the Belmont clan and the Dracula legend. What was the feedback like when people completed the game and discovered Gabriel's true destiny?
Well, we got lots of positive feedback. Let's put it this way. And it was a shocking surprise for pretty much everyone because they weren't expecting. Of course, there's always people that will consider that like a sacrilege, you know what I mean, in terms of how a Belmont can become Dracula. But we think that is a very nice way to explain the bond between, the Belmont and Dracula, because why they fight Dracula. And it's a very nice way to know that Dracula is the first one of them. So that's why the rest of them feel shame. They feel they have to destroy him because they are in part responsible, or their clan is responsible. So we thought that was a nice approach, a nice, surprise. And I think that pretty much everyone accepted it this way. So we feel very, very happy about it.
I think also, there's more to the story than that. And that's the beauty of Mirror of Fate and Lords of Shadow 2, is you're going to find out more of the story, more of the tragedy of the Belmont family. It's quite a sad story, and Trevor's story and Simon's story are very closely linked with that of Gabriel's, and I think that explaining that through these new games is going to make people really interested, I hope, and I hope they're going to really like it.
Well, that's it. That Gabriel is, as you said, main character again. Sympathies lie with Dracula, so in a way the Belmont clan almost becomes the enemy this time around. Would that be correct?
Kind of, yeah. It kind of turns it around slightly, but I think it gives a motivation to the character of Gabriel Dracula. You won't necessarily agree with what he does perhaps at the end of the game. I mean, he is a badass, he's the ultimate Dark Lord, the ultimate vampire, and he's going to be a lot of fun to play. But you'll certainly understand where he's coming from, how he got to that place, how he got to the position that he's in. And you'll also understand a lot better, the tragedy of his family, the tragedy of his offspring, his ancestors, and why that sort of ties in. I'm probably giving too much away about the game, but it's an interesting concept, and the characters and the story is something that we've wanted to explore with the Lords of Shadow universe. And being given that opportunity, I think, hopefully we can deliver something that people who enjoyed Lords of Shadow and are interested to see where we're going with the story, they'll get the epic conclusion that they want with Lords of Shadow 2.
And what's the sort of connective tissue between Mirror of Fate and Lords of Shadow 2? I know you mentioned previously there that it's sort of like Mirror of Fate is the middle part, but how does that all connect in?
Well, I think we see Lords of Shadow 1 and Lords of Shadow 2 really focused more on Dracula, so he's kind of the centre of the universe. It's about him as a character, you play him as a character, so in Lords of Shadow 2 you play him as Dracula. But Mirror of Fate is more about the Belmonts and their story, about the ancestors, the kind of periphery characters and how they're affected by the story of what happened to Gabriel. So in many ways it's kind of like they're two bookends. So you've got Lords of Shadow 1, Lords of Shadow 2 as the two bookends, and you've got Mirror of Fate as kind of like the middle that fills in a lot of the sort of detail. One thing I'd like to point out is that the games are self-contained, so you can play the games without having to have played the previous games. But if you want to really get the depth and the kind of like the deep detail of the story, then you really need to play all three.
And talking about playing Dracula in the second game, you've upgraded your skills to Lords of Shadow. How do you, almost in a way, you're this all-powerful, kick-ass being. How do you make that an interesting point from a gameplay point of view that sort of at least allows the player to...
We're not allowed to answer that.
Oh, not allowed to answer. Okay, shall I just cut that point?
You'll see when
You
it's
will
released.
see.
You will see. You will see.
All right, okay then. You give me the wink from now on. If I start and definitely no-go area, I'll just cut it short, basically. Well, can you tell me if that is Alucard in the E3 trailer?
Do you want to wink at him again?
No. Right. Okay.
There is an answer to that.
There is an answer.
Yeah. But we're not going to reveal it right now. We don't want to spoil the story elements of it. Castlevania Lord Shadow Mirror of Fate on 3DS is going to answer some of the questions that you're asking in terms of what can we expect from Lord Shadow 2.
Do you guys just love teasing fans of the series? Is this...
Yes.
We just feel that the story elements are, we don't want to give everything away. We want people to be surprised when they play the game. We really enjoyed the reaction that the epilogue got to the game, and that was a big surprise to a lot of people. So we kind of feel that we want to keep some things back, what people can expect from the game, so that they're surprised. They're genuinely surprised by what they get at the end of it.
Well, Lords of Shadow was a very, very strong game. But coming into the sequel, is there things that you guys wanted maybe just to improve from the first one?
Absolutely. I think that starting by the technology, of course, for Mirror of Fate, we got to build a new engine capable to represent in such a tiny screen the world of Lords of Shadow, which is quite good-looking game for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And for Lords of Shadow 2, we also have. Not entirely rebuilt, but heavily built again the engine to accommodate a few things that we consider they were necessary to improve the experience of Lords of Shadow. I can't go much deep into these subjects, but you'll feel that every single aspect of Lords of Shadow has been improved, has been considered, has been these guys were conscious about this thing, and they went a bit farther than in the first game. I can just mention exploration, like a big focus for just not just Mirror of Fate, but as well Lords of Shadow 2. As one of the main comments we got from people that played the first one, and they wanted a bit. This game is very, very cool, but if you could put a bit more of exploration, that could be even cooler. So that's something you're gonna find in Mirror of Fate in spades, and you're gonna find a lot in Lords of Shadow 2.
Well, is Lords of Shadow 2 still as much of a journey as the first one? Certainly the emotional roller coaster is going to be there with Dracula, but in terms of the actual exploration element per se, that you went to those Lords of Shadows, those areas, is there that much sort of grand scheme behind it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be beyond epic, I suppose, would be the
Beyond
epic. Is there
That's a great marketing thing, right?
Yeah, we want players to go on a journey. We want players to, be with Dracula and understand his motivations. We want players to, feel like this is an epic quest and that they're getting their money's worth. I mean, one of the things that we're absolutely adamant about with Lord Shadow 2 is we want to deliver in spades above expectation or what people are expecting. We seriously want to end the saga in a big way. We want people to be totally satisfied. We want there to be a real conclusion to the game, real conclusion to the story that everyone is happy with, that really leaves a mark on the Castlevania dynasty. That's what we want to do. We want Lords of Shadow to sit and stand tall, and people will talk about it for years to come and say this was an incredible achievement, and the story was something that they loved. That's what we're trying to do with Lords of Shadow 2. So yeah, you can expect an epic quest for sure.
I think that honesty is something that is important for a developer, and you have to be honest. Being honest means that if you are trying to explain something that big, you need to make it big. You can't deliver a series of dungeons filled with monsters and pretend that that is the end of the world. If you are trying to explain there's a threat from Satan himself, like in Lost Shadow 1, and you have to paint the journey of a character into doom, into oblivion, then you need to be honest and you need to deliver exactly what you're trying to explain, what you're trying to communicate. So that's why Lost Shadow is so big. That's why it's so big, because it's heavily story driven. We needed to do it this way, and nothing has changed. I mean, we keep telling the story. We keep, honestly, this is a trilogy, so we keep telling the story, and it's going to be as big, if not bigger, than the first one.
Voice actors. He's not moving, so I'm going to carry on with the question. Are the cast returning? I'm trying to make this as vague as possible.
Some of the cast are returning. Some of the cast, and we have some new cast members too. Some really cool people that we can't actually talk about right now for contractual reasons, but yes.
Because I feel like it wouldn't be Lord Chicago without Patrick Stewart's dulcet tones auditing. But no, you're not going to give me anything, are you?
I can't at the moment. I can say that Robert is returning to the role, but that's all I can say right now. But we've got some other big names coming, some really cool names.
Well, maybe to do that with Robert returning, how much input does he have into the character of Gabriel Dracula? Is there a sort of relationship conversation there between yourselves and him, because obviously he's portraying that emotional torment that the character's going through?
Absolutely. I mean, we send him a script and then he comes in and does the reading, but he often will change things. He's very keen to try different things, so we do several takes. And sometimes, he won't be happy with what he's done, and he'll say simply, "I just want to do it again, and let me do it again, 7 times. Let me do it 7 times, and then pick one from that." So he brings something to the role that you don't envisage when you write it down originally. When you work on a screenplay, on the character, he'll come in and he's got something else to offer. He understands the character because he's been with us right from the very beginning. So he really understands the character and where we were going. He knew right from the get-go that he was going to end up as Dracula. So he really brought something to that role that was unique. And now that he's getting to have the really fun bits of being a badass, I think he's relishing it. And all the actors that we've worked with have brought something to the role. They don't just come in and read the script and go away. They come in and they're professional and they want to bring something to it. They want to give a piece of themselves to the acting, so they do. And often we change the script on the day if we have to. If they feel that something's not working, they'll change it, and we'll change it. We'll work with them. So it's exciting.
And I don't think we can finish talking about Castlevania without talking about the music. What's the situation with the score? Have we got the same elements from the original game reappearing in the sequel?
I think we could probably say so. We are going. Oscar's is coming back to do the score. Yeah. But this time we did that without moving your lips. So Oscar's returning, but we're going to have a big epic orchestral score because that's what fits the world. But I think also we'll take a more electronic approach to certain elements of it. That's what I'm going to say. I probably said too much. I think John's going to punch me.
Okay, and just finally, when can players expect to get their hands on with the game?
Well, Castlevania Lord Shadow Mirror of Fate will be out in the fall of this year, so players will be able to play that part of the adventure. Castlevania Lord Shadow 2, we don't actually have a date right now. We're kind of, because it's so epic and it's the conclusion, we want to take our time and make sure it's right. So,
Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us here.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you.